Welcome all. I'm glad you found your way back. I wanted to show you this. This is part of the Crestwood horror book stories series that they had. Now these are kind of hard to find, basically because the series is no longer. I think it was discontinued or something, and that's could be why on eBay they're like well over $100 for these or that. But anyway, this is the mummy right here. And let me see what we got in here. The inner coffin of the mummy. King Tutankhamun's mummy was made of solid gold. Dr. Muller and Sir Joseph Wimpole discussed plans before entering the tomb. Ralph Norton, Bramwell Fletcher, Dr. Muller, and Sir Joseph Wimpole examined the mummy. The mummy, Boris Karloff, reaches for the scroll while Norton watches in amazement. That was that scene in the film where he sees the mummy coming and he lets off with a ah! You should have saw him. He went for a little walk. On Death Bay, Boris Karloff shows young Frank Wemple and his assistant where to dig. Sure, I'm getting all those names right. Altad Bay broods over the mummy of the princesses. In a trance, Helen Grossenver leaves the party. The dead guard is found. Frank Wemple, David Manners, finds Helen on the museum steps. Helen and Arthur Day gaze at each other. What are you doing in the museum right now? You should not be here, my dear. Alted Bay talks quietly to Helen as the others listen. This is not a place for you all to be. Alted Bay asks Sir Joseph for the scroll. Give the scroll back, you fool. Alta Bay casts a death spell through the magic pool. Across the city, Sir Joseph has a fatal heart attack. And this is, I'll make the plans, my dear. Aldad Bey confronts the dying princess. Ho Te steals the stroll. Oh no, it's this dude. Slave takes Ho Tep and the stroll to the secret tomb. Ho Tep is about to set the princess' mummy on fire. Amhotep's servant, Noble Johnson, brings Helen to the altar of sacrifice. The mummy carries off Martha in a scene from The Mummy's Hand. The mummy watches Martha inside the temple. Metamate tells the mummy, Lon Chaney Jr., to get out of his tomb in a scene from The Mummy's Tomb. Some of these names are like John Banning. John Hubbard waves a torch at the mummy. George Zuko orders Yourself Bey John Carradine to go to America in The Mummy's Ghost, 1944. Yourself gives a portion of life-giving Tana juice to the mummy, Lon Chaney Jr. The mummy and Yourself watches watch Amos Ramsey hair change color. Okay, the mummy carries and men away from the house. They have some names that are like, hey, do the best we can, and if whatever, we just move on. Boris Karloff as Hotep in the mummy talks to Helen in the original Mummy movie, The Mummy. I'm afraid I was busy. I did not hear you. So that's that, and that's actually it was a good series. It had a lot of other stuff on it, but a lot of the ones in there are kind of hard to find. Monsters I suggest you read about. Some of the other ones in the series you can get is the Blob, the Dracula, Godzilla, King Kong, the Mummy, Frankenstein, Mad Scientist, the Wolfman, Deadly Mantis, the Invisible Man, It Came from Outer Space, Phantom from the Opera, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, Murders in the Rue Morgue, Creatures from the Black Lagoon. You used to be able to write to this down here and get a awesome catalog, but I wrote to them recently. It's like I don't think they're still doing that. So there you go. And thanks for coming this way again. I hope to see you next time when the day will be ready and the time will be right. Just stop on by and check for my light.